I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. If you answer yes even once, then I think this show, Grand Blue, is right up your alley. Okay, first up, are you in your college years? Do you enjoy hanging out with your friends? Are you interested in the ocean? Do you like drinking alcohol and being naked?
Are you interested
or have thought about diving? Do you like comedy? And finally, do you like oolong tea? Remember, if you said yes to any of those questions, then go check it out and see what this show has to offer. However, if you said no to all of them, then that's okay. I actually trust you. With that, you're more than welcome to click off the video. Just before you go though, here, have some water. Your voice must be parched after answering all those questions, eh?
どうも。
Finally, a show that is meant for an older audience. This was a long time video I've been meaning to make. Grand Blue is one of my all-time favorites, and this show just seems to hit all the right things about why I enjoy anime in the first place. With season 2 just right around the corner, there is no better time for me to talk about one of the most engaging, relatable, and hilarious animes ever made. So grab your snacks, make yourself comfy, and let's talk about why I think this anime is underrated and deserves more recognition. For those that are unfamiliar with Grand Blue, the overall theme of the show is about diving. The genre of it is slice of life, and the type of comedy is one that goes over the top. Our introduction to the show begins with our main character, Yori Kitahara. Since he's about to begin his college career, he moves in with his uncle who owns a diving shop called Grand Blue. When I first came across this show, like some of you, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Still, it wasn't long when we all realized that this show was going to turn into something completely different. As you can see, we're introduced to a sausage fest at this shop. Just like Yori, we question what the fuck we just stumbled into. It turns out, the naked people we saw in the shop are PAB members, which stands for Peekaboo. They are in a diving club that operates out of the Grand Blue diving shop, which serves both as their meeting place and equipment hub. Yori questions this scene, and the two main PAB members, Toki and Buki, explains that they were doing rock, paper, scissors to decide who would prep the tanks for diving. So that begs the question,
それが全裸と何の関係が。
野球拳をしたら全裸になるのが常識だ。
あなた方は野球拳以外のじゃんけんを知らないんですか
Yeah, this face right here, expect to see a lot of that. The facial expressions in the show is straight up one of the funniest things to see. The faces they make are so over-exaggerated, and it always puts a smile on my face. From what I hear, most people like to compare these faces like Attack on Titans. It's the closest reference you can take to express how much of those faces appear in the show. Also, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Alcohol. There is a lot of it, and there is a lot of drinking. This show doesn't shy away from the irresponsibility of drinking, and it shows. It kinda encapsulates how the drinking in this show brings out the craziness and fun that could happen in this hangout session. It does well on showing the worst and fun parts about it. After seeing how much they consume alcohol, it makes me wonder how the hell they can even survive this. I mean, for crying out loud, dude, this drink right here is 96% proof. That stuff should go nowhere near your mouth, and yet these PAB members are consuming it like it's fucking Sprite. Alongside with the faces, the drinking and nakedness is something you're gonna see very often. With all that being shown, we just have to remember that it's all for comedic purposes, which is something that this show actually does best at conveying. When delivering those comedic moments, this show is certainly making me laugh by all means. Before I knew it, I've already reached the end of season 1, and after I finished it, I wanted to hear what other people's opinions were on this. Since it was hilarious and fun for me, I thought this was going to be the most talked about show in the anime community. Then I came to realize that, wow, no one is talking about this show at all. I think initially at first, the show just couldn't stand up from the rest of the anime shows that were airing that season. I thought this was going to be a buried underground anime and no one was ever going to discover this hidden gem. Except the thing is, the manga itself is actually a great success. So there's definitely a dedicated fan base. Once the anime got announced and released, you just had to hope it would get new fans for the show. It was a slow burning community, but over time, it actually did gain more fans. But because of the hype for the airing release of Grand Blue died down, there wasn't anything to keep the fire lit. 6 years is quite a long time for no new announcements for a second season. A wait that long is usually a sign that the anime series project is done for. So the fact that we got a second season announcement is outstandingly lucky. Of course, I think the likely reason why it wasn't that popular to begin with was because it catered more to an older audience. This show had everything a person in their early 20s could relate to, which was the college life, studies, financial struggle, drinking, hangovers, and all of that. I discovered this anime during my college years, so it hit all the right notes that I was relating to. Looking back at it, it makes sense why I was kind of gravitating towards this show. For me, it was hard to find the opportunity to make friends and drink alongside with back in my college days. So seeing the characters having a good and crazy time in the show just kind of made me feel like I was part of their wacky group. Maybe it was something to fill that missed out moments I could have had in my college years. After all, I can't dwell too much on my history, and we're not really talking about me here. I think the point I was trying to emphasize is that Grand Blue just really gravitated toward an older audience that were in their college years, and that's something you don't get to really see much in anime. Actually, if we're really gonna point out something here, that's actually pretty freaking rare to see that setting in general. Anyway, seeing this show takes place in college is a breath of fresh air to me. I kinda wish more anime shows did this. I never realized till recently on how mundane it felt to see an anime show that takes place in a high school setting. Because literally, the majority of anime shows has that type of setting. The popularity of Grand Blue isn't going to reach the heights we fans want them to. Even though the hype for season 2 was there, it wasn't mainstream enough for everyone else to discover. And maybe that's okay, at least for now. We understand how cool it is to find a hidden gem for yourselves, so let's just appreciate the moment before the show eventually becomes something that everyone talks about. What is comedy? Comedy at its core is humanity's desperate attempt to laugh while everything around it slowly burns. Comedy is the art. Everyone laughs at many different things. This is never just one type of comedy. Our perception of comedy as a society has been drastically altered due to the ever-living culture of brain rot memes. So, watching anime shows that are based on comedy is a bit hard to come across these days. To me, when I'm watching an anime show that's comedy-based, I'm usually expecting to see Japan's way of humor throughout the show. Grand Blue comedy isn't the best in the whole wide world. I think it's unreasonable to say that. However, I do think it's arguably one of the best comedy animes that delivers a consistent chuckle throughout the show. Sometimes you might even capture yourselves audibly smirking of the sheer dumbness this show provides. To top that off, I would even say that the manga does the comedy aspects better. The art style is high quality, which provides the most hilarious visuals there is. Other comedy shows like Gintama, Konosuba, Nichijou, and many others provide their own type of humor in their own unique way, just like how Grand Blue does their own. If I had to say which comedy aspect really stands out from the rest of the jokes in the series, it would have to be the banners between the main characters' best friends. This is the other aspect that really made me vibe with the show. Grand Blue delivers exactly what it's really like to hang out with your best buds. You all hang out in a group, you have a drinking stash at someone's place, help each other out during tough times, and many other friendly activities. Alright, so it may seem that they're really heartless friends, but they really do have each other's back.
いおりお風呂空いたから次あ
Okay, they're really terrible friends, but the joke is that regardless of the things that they pull on each other, they always end up being all back together and they act like nothing ever happened. The dynamic between these characters are hilarious, and they even have these moments where no matter how terrible they treat each other, deep down, they enjoy each other's company. They do this consistently, and it's honestly one of the highlights of this show for me. So yeah, overall, this show's comedy isn't for everyone, but at least you can expect some memorable moments, for either good or worse. It's Azusa. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the cast we have in this show. As we already mentioned, Yori is one of the main characters of this show, including mentioning about Toki and Buki, the head members of the diving club. They're both known for being a strong influence on the diving club. Despite them being half naked all the time, they do have good hearts. I like them because they actually do bring out some solid advices and they actually care about the safety of their friends when it comes to diving. Still, they're pretty funny guys, so every now and then, I wouldn't mind hanging out with them if I had the opportunity to do so. Shortly during the first episode, we're introduced with lovely new characters such as Chisa and Nanika. They are Yori's cousins that are also part of the diving club, and sometimes they work part-time at the diving shop, Grand Blue. We learned this information just within a few minutes of the first episode. Also worth noting, Yori and his cousins are not blood related by any means. Anyway, the reason for that is because Yori's uncle is adopted, hence not blood related. They are still family, so luckily we don't have to worry about any weird incestuous.
あの人重度のシスコンなんだ
God damn it, Japan! For some reason, Nanika here has some weird infatuation for her sister. Some may call it overly love, if you will, but if we look at it the surface, she is a very nice person. She gives off this innocent personality, and she does have this sense of maturity and care for her fellow diving members. She's definitely a beautiful person, and I think her cute airheadedness brings out a charm for this show. Everyone has a bit of a weird side to them, so it's best to think that not everyone might be normal in the world of Grand Blue. Speaking of normal, Chisa Kodogawa. She's known for being the most normal of the cast. She can be seen as a stern person, but she mostly just has a shy personality. She has a genuine interest for diving, and she finds herself in high spirits when other people take interest in diving as well. I think what I like about her is that, despite being in an environment where she's constantly involved with this, she can tell that the rest of her club members has a good heart. In fact, she really encourages other people to try out diving because it's something that she loves to do, to help others see what she sees, which is basically a big, beautiful, new world. Aina is shortly introduced to the show as well. She's a college student who took an interest in diving, and she's considered to be one of the most normal people of the cast as well. But as I just said, normal doesn't really exist. I say that because sometimes Aina dresses up like this. You won't actually see it much, but there's a reason for why she does makeup that way, so we'll just move on from that. Aina does have a typical love drama fantasy about having the ideal college life that she's always dreamed of. Having that into consideration, when she's hanging out with these guys, I'd say she'd already realized that it may not be the college life she always imagined. Nonetheless, I like her because she tries to step out of her comfort zone. She's just a pretty timid person, but her logic reasoning, innocent dreams, and genuine interest for diving is definitely one of her strong points, so having her around is always fun. Now we have Imamura Kohei, the true embodiment of an otaku. He's also the best friend of Yori. It's not said out loud, but it's pretty clear that they have a pretty close relationship with each other. Kohei took an interest to diving by his own choice. He gladly joins the diving club, and we get to learn about his character and personality. He's basically a good-looking dude who's a big introverted otaku. He enjoys hanging out with the club and always never turns down a friendly rivalry with his best friend, Yori. I think he definitely has his ups and downs, but I think Kohei is a fantastic cast to add into the mix, and it's always entertaining to see his hobbies get mixed in with the rest of the gang. Finally, we meet Azusa, the one who's clearly the trump card of this show. She's one of the past senior members of the diving club, which tells me that she may not be just any ordinary girl. First off, she's straight up attractive. Her looks and gaze can literally melt you on the spot. She has such a carefree vibe and a laid-back personality, it makes you want to be around her. Also, she loves to be involved in the crazy antics this diving club does, which is basically drinking and getting half naked all the time. Her being introduced to the show is one of the best I've seen, and the reason why I think she's the best girl to me on this show is that she's the type of person who can cover your back when you're in a tight situation. She has a devious mindset, and she can also have edgy thoughts like any typical pervert. Azusa is such a chill person that it's almost refreshing to see. It's not often that you get to see a character like her, so it's always a pleasure to see her on screen. So until then, she's the best girl on this show, and there's no one who can even come close that could even compete with her. In Grand Blue, diving is the backbone of the story. But let's be real here. It's a drinking anime with a diving problem. This show is notorious for its characters for having the Attack on Titan faces, their unrealistic heavy drinking, and nudity, which does often overshadows their actual diving activities. Still, that's honestly what makes Granblue stand out. It doesn't try to hide what it is. It embraces the absurdity, the chaos, the dumbassery, and somehow, it still manages to throw in some genuine moments about friendship, passion, and growing up. Granblue is the kind of experience you don't get every day. Beneath all the absurdity, there's something weirdly real about it. Granblue reminds you that sometimes the most ridiculous moments in your life are also the ones you'll treasure the most. So, if you're still not convinced that this show is for you, then that's absolutely okay. If anything, the last thing I want to do is force anyone to watch a show that they won't find interesting. If you do find it a little interesting, but you're still not sure if you can commit, then my quote to you is, if you only stick to what you already know, you'll never get anywhere. What's important is whether you're interested or not.